Hello everyone and welcome to episode 4 of Football Manager 2020. It's Bill again solo this time, but I'm gonna try to get 2 episodes out a week, so sometimes I have to go when no one else has schedules free. Or in cases like this where I just realized I'm gonna be busy if I don't record like right now. We're picking back up with our Amazulu save. Today I'm hoping to I'm going to get through the AS Kaloum match, which is fairly irrelevant because I can't see them scoring 3 times on us. And then hopefully knock out the Cape Town City match from the actual Premiership so that at least one match in the 2 recordings I've done this week is going to be significant. We're picking up right where we left off last time. Since I'm trying to get these out regularly, I'm not going to skip much unless there's something that looks extremely boring to play through. Unfortunately, despite our good performance when I was saving my job, we're steadily falling down the league table as other teams get to play more matches and we have to just sit and wait for us to actually get to play. The match against Real Kings will be interesting because they're actually above us, although they have played an extra match on us. Somehow we are actually having a chance at Samir. I was not expecting that to work out. We've definitely been focusing hard up the right wing for the last couple of matches we've had. This year I feel like that's going to be pretty common because we don't really have good left wingers, but we've got some pretty strong players on the right. Another guy who we originally brought in to be a star player and is just not performing at that level. I don't recall if I've even had Safama in this season. See who we get next in the Knockout Cup. Of course. That's a bad sign. We're probably not winning that one. But that's almost good because I kind of want to be out of the Knockout Cup before December starts. The board won't like it, but our schedule is going to be so brutal in December if we're trying to play the Knockout Cup, the Conference Cup in Africa, and the 8 league games they want us to play that month. Safama is upset that I'm cutting his playing time, so I'm going to have to see if I can sort that out, or delegate it to Fleurs, see if he can sort it out first. And he could. Perfect. I don't have to risk saying the wrong thing. In general, I'd recommend always trying to get another player to sort things out first, if you can, because it cheers up the other player that you trust them with it. And if they fail, it doesn't hurt the relationship with the person that's upset. But if they succeed, I think you still improve the relationship. So it's just all upside to get them to try first. And if they fail, you can still talk to the person yourself. Oh, good. We're going to be playing at Orlando Stadium, too. So it's just as hard as possible for the next round in the Knockout Cup. Fleur succeeded. So that's how we're going to be kicking off. The next recording session is going to be that Orlando match, which makes it doubly important that the Cape Town City match goes well today. Sure, we'll try to bring in Van Mike. He seems fairly mid, but whatever, he'll fill holes. He's South African, so I don't have to worry about him getting sooky because I can't register him due to him being foreign and me maxing out my foreign players. What a shock, right? Phillips wouldn't come in. It's not a big loss. This might be a mistake to let the reserves have everyone, but I feel pretty confident about that Kalum match, so I don't think I need to keep people rested for it. Apparently I've got competition for my effort to bring in Simmons. I don't think that's going to work out anyway, so not too worried there. Mattia has just been awesome since I brought him in. Gilchrist is currently the only player sulking, so I've mostly got out of my poor morale issues I was having earlier in the year. I guess playing Williams for the cup matches cheered him up. We're currently thinking we can have the top team pretty much in. We'll see how it is after that reserves match, see who they take, but I'm at least going to train them as if it's going to be the top team in. Because that's really the point for messing with the team selection early and setting it up, because then they'll practice with them in those positions. And if you wait till the pregame kickoff screen to tweak your alignment, then you're not getting the practice time with people in. So that's only for like emergency changes due to injuries or people being rested who you didn't think were going to be ready, stuff like that. Kessel's too expensive, so we're not getting him. Not really shocked that Almari fell through. Wasn't expecting that to work. Yeah, I like those suggestions. And of course we are going to focus play down to right. As I was mentioning when we were looking at the heat map, we are much stronger playing down the right hand side with the current squad I have. And I believe those were the same directions I gave them for the first leg. I'm always going to talk up my guys. Not as much of an injury headache as they're making it out to be. I'm not sure I was actually going to try to play Bonifacio this time anyway. Oh, good. The South African coach actually likes the guy I said was good. Usually you don't get positive responses like that. I mean, it doesn't really affect anything, but usually they're like, yeah, I'm not going to listen to other coaches. I'm going to make my own decision. So it's nice that he actually agrees with me. If he ever moves to a club managing position, it'll probably mean I have a better relationship with him, which will be useful when I'm trying to get deals done. Oh, and Cordova goes down injured. How long are you up for? 2 weeks. Just long enough to fuck up the international break, of course. Schiavone only out for 2 or 3 days. This is largely irrelevant. It's only an orange level injury, so I could even play him through it. Samir didn't want to come over. I got further in those negotiations than I thought, but I wasn't expecting him to want to come to South Africa. The board's just kind of okay with me, probably because I'm falling down the league table despite playing well when I get a league game. They just gave me that new contract, though, so they shouldn't get pissy for a while. Quick is starting to fall off. He was doing really well for them, but I think he needs a little kick in the ass. And he doesn't like me telling him that. I'll play better then. Mad. He needs a kick in the ass, too. That actually helped out. He was really unhappy, and the fact that I gave him a kick in the butt actually cheered him up a bit. Wow, Simmons is actually willing to negotiate with us. Was not expecting that. I suspect he's still going to reject the contract. Because if I brought him in, it would be mostly just to be in a reserves player in the hopes that I can get him to a level where he breaks into the first team. But let's be honest, it's not that likely. Yeah, we'll keep scouting him. Keep scouting him. A German. I mean, fine. I don't know why my scouts want to scout Europe so much, but I think he'll be good. Sure, I'll try for him. Don't really have a chance to go for him. Yeah, I know it's a bad league, but I need to try to keep some of my scouts operating in South Africa. My scouts are obsessed with Europe. Fine, scout them. Northern Ireland. Jesus, guys, scout Africa more. Uruguay. Well, at least it's not Europe. Nice to see them diversifying a little bit. No real injury concerns. Except for Fleurs. Fleurs is still only 75 minutes. He's coming off bruised ribs, though. That takes a while to recover from. Gusty conditions, fairly cold. I mean, 14 degrees is fine by my standards, but for South Africa it's not great. Oops. Let's see who I can put in instead of Fleurs. I don't know if I want him playing while he's still recovering, just given that this isn't a very important match. But no one else is comfortable at that position. I think I need to keep him in just because he's the only one comfortable at the position. And I already have Mirosavljevic, who's not super comfortable as a central defender on the other side. I need at least one good central defender in, and it's kind of got to be Fleurs just because of squad depth. Rib injuries are better than leg injuries. At least he probably won't re-aggravate it. I'm not really trying to bully them too badly here. I'm already up 3 goals. It's just kind of going to be a match to take it easy, hang back, and try to not have any damage done to us. Unless people are really playing bad, which I don't see against these guys, I'll probably be making subs based on fatigue, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. They're playing kind of shitty so far today. Although even playing shitty, we're already like 6-0 shots on net. It's only 10 minutes in. The downside is our pitch is pretty bad. We were getting a new stadium before we got bought out, and then I don't think the new owners wanted to go through with that, so we've just kind of been left with a pitch that hasn't been maintained much, and there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of interest in fixing that. And bad pitches unfortunately increase the chance of injuries, which is part of the reason I've been getting so hammered on injuries for the last couple of years. I'm playing incredibly congested schedules on a bad field, and it's just wearing my guys down. I've been lucky so far this year. I really haven't suffered much in the way of serious injuries, but we'll see how long that holds up come December. They are defending a lot better than they did in the first leg. I think they got a good scare when we beat them as badly as we did. But this could potentially be a red card. It was not, unfortunately. I don't really want them going down to 10. I'd prefer to just beat them honestly. There are matches where I'm pretty happy to see a red card playing against a team this much below me. It's not one of them. The downside is I can't really count on getting good money from this game because this club is so far below us. There's not going to be huge fan interest in the match. Williams is continuing to be one of my best players when I can have him in. I'm gonna have to look in January and see if I can sub him in, or see if I can move him into the first squad permanently come the second half of the season. Because I believe he got cut since there's better people on paper, but in actual performances, he's been outperforming everyone I've got. We are playing so sloppy with the ball today. It's pretty obvious my guys are not engaged in this match. And their goaltender's just like having the match of a lifetime. Grant Marchman's been really underperforming this year. He's one of my veterans that I count on for good performances. And he's not been involved in just about anything. He doesn't play poorly. He just never seems to be on the ball when I'm watching. Maybe he's doing stuff in between actual highlight packages, but he doesn't seem to be doing much during the highlights. Their possession's definitely better than it was last season. Or, not season, last match. They're actually making it tough for me to score on them. I still think I'm probably going to knock in 2 or 3 goals in the last 30 minutes of the game, but this is much more what I was expecting it to look like in the last match. Where we control the majority of the possession and spend a lot of time hammering their goal, but they just park the bus and keep things largely under control, I say, as we score on them. Mabule's another player I've been really impressed with. He's been showing up in these league games and just playing his heart out. And that's kind of been the story of Marchman's season. He gets a free kick from a really good spot, hits a nice cross in there, and it just gets grabbed by the goaltender. I don't think he's a bad player. He's just not been having any luck this season. And he's been on my team for 7 years. I think people are just getting used to how he plays. Because there's 7 years of tape of him in that role now. And they do simulate other teams becoming familiar with how you play. It was pretty much exactly what I wanted from the first half. We're not running up the score the way we were before, but I don't really need us to. I don't want anyone getting overtired or injured. I'd rather just play a calm, boring game, disappoint the fans a bit, and walk out of here with a win and a solid team for my Premiership matches. I'm not 100% Traore was onside there, but he didn't get flagged for it, so it must have been just barely onside. We're seeing a major issue with my squad right now with Siasi and Mirsavjevic. Neither one of them really has the courage to try to move the ball forward. So I found in a lot of matches where I play both of them that they just end up passing back and forth like that, maybe with a third player involved, and no one's willing to make the move to actually try to advance the ball. I think I need a better mental coach, but there's not a dedicated role to it, and my assistant coaches are good at other stuff, so I don't really want to take them off and try to hire someone else who's better at teaching mental stats. We can see that Colomb's starting to get kind of desperate. They're just launching the ball out of the box when they get it. They're not any sort of control, no effort to play towards their own players. They're dragging everyone back into the box to keep me from scoring, and then just launching it up the field when they get it. I'm starting to break them down, which is what tends to happen in late games when I'm substantially better than the opposite team. That's one good thing about the cold weather. You can see the difference between that and the really hot game I had at their stadium, where all my team were exhausted by this point. And here, no one really needs to get subbed for fatigue. I'm going to pull Torre out because he's not really been doing what I want and bring in Traore instead, but no one needs a sub. I'm mostly just doing it to get people minutes. I thought maybe I was going to have to pull Fleurs because he was getting tired, but the doctors thought he was good for 75 minutes, so I might pull him at the 70th or 80th minute, but he's playing really well for us, and he doesn't seem that tired. I'm not sure what they're doing. They're passing it into the middle where everyone is instead of out wide where there's openings. That went about as well as it could have. They didn't have any sort of game plan. They were just kind of hammering the ball into the box and not really thinking about it. They're definitely checked out mentally this game. And that happens a lot with the second leg. If you're way up after the first one, they just don't engage that much for the second half because I guess they figured that it's already won. I'm going to take Fleurs out now and put Sinago in. I don't want to risk an injury to Fleurs, and no one's playing poorly enough that I feel like I have to pull them for how they're playing. Maybe Walker, but I know that I mess up both my wings if I pull him, and it's not worth doing that for a 6.6 performance. Sinago's not terrible if I set him as a no-nonsense center back. He can't really do half the fancy stuff, but at least he's comfortable in that role. They're starting to make a lot of mistakes now, and so are we. The yellow cards are stacking up. People are getting sloppy. Everyone's cold and miserable and just wants to go in. That's one of the things I like about this game. Like, the weather will actually affect how they approach a game. The guys will clearly not want to be there some days, and it'll show up in their performances. I mean, ideally, I'd always like them to do the best, but it kind of takes the fun out of managing if everyone plays perfect all the time. That was actually a fairly dangerous position for them, although they blew it at the end. I might as well pull Walker off for the last 10 minutes. No one else is playing badly. I'll get people practice for when I can't have him in at the position I want. Let's see. Tower. This is a fairly common trick I have to pull with my limited winger selections, is playing an extra midfielder and just pulling in to win, or to wing, which is why I wanted to put him in for 10 minutes. Just get them used to having to play a little narrower. They're not nearly as familiar with this formation because I don't like to start it, but sometimes I need to do it to finish matches. Something happened in the box, I'm not sure what. Looks like we might be getting a penalty for that second goal I was expecting us to be able to pull off in this match. This is one complaint I have about the way this does replays. They just replay the goal. They don't replay what got the foul in the first place, so I still don't know what actually happened in the box to cause that. I just saw a whole clump of circles like this, and then penalty was called. It's the downside of the overhead. You can't tell what they're actually doing, but it makes it way easier to watch their tactics. And that was Mabuli's first goal. And Sinago, when I brought him in, it was his 100th appearance. That's good. Nidlova wanted me to talk up how good he was with his not having to do much goaltending because they barely ever got near the net. That happens sometimes. They'll be like, yeah, why don't you celebrate me? And I'm like, because you didn't do anything. Even the highlight package just isn't interesting because nothing happened in that game. Mabule was my best player. I'm not surprised there. He's been doing really well for a while. So I get to compliment him on his form and his performance in that game. getting them up from superb to fully happy is actually fairly difficult. The threshold to level it up seems way higher than it is for a normal tick up in happiness, which makes sense. It's really hard to go up when you're already in a good mood. You can see the damage that schedule is doing to our training for this week coming up, but then we got the international break to get people back into training, so I'm not too worried about this. Trying to keep this sort of schedule for a month is rough. Doing it for a week isn't too bad. Oh, and that cheered up the board a bit. Murphy's Law. I told him to focus up the right, and then Mabuli starts playing really well, so instead I end up majority of my attacks up the left. Although, despite it saying that was the focus of my attacks, it seems like it was actually pretty balanced between both wings. But the right was probably after I've crossed it over from the left, bringing it back in, just based on where the heat is. Yeah, all my key passes came in from the left. Well, I can't do anything with that information. Foster for CSE, McCoquane for Torre. Yeah, I'm good with those changes. Doesn't even require me to play around in tactics because everyone's good at the positions they're being put into. We're expected to dominate Cape Town City. Oh yeah, that's right. Sam Hamad went there. It'd be good to see him again. They intend to try to disrupt my passing play. What a shock. None of these are really guys I intend to play in the first team for this match. Maybe Adam, but he's on a yellow card warning, so I'm alright with letting him go to the under 21s. It's always a gamble doing this when we have matches on the same day, but I don't think I'm going to start them, and I want them to get game time if they can. Yeah, Williams is actually like growing into a fantastic player. I think he'll be most likely added to the squad permanent. Oh wait, no, he wasn't in the squad. He was the one that was upset because I was not able to get depth at right back. I've been confusing him and Gilchrist. This has a tendency to happen more than I would like, where I pick a team for the national team and then everyone gets hurt in the week leading up to it. Now we wait while it autosaves and is slow because I'm recording at the same time. We've also got a really big day coming up here. Yeah, 21's still fine. I'm not going to argue with that match for digging through for two players for pair friendlies. I mean, Australia, we're probably going to lose, and we're probably going to beat Bolivia, whether I bring in two extra players or not. So I'm just going to go with 21. I'm sure some of the team managers are going to love that schedule with playing in Australia and then Bolivia in like 4 days. No real surprises in what's going on. Bringing Henry back in after he was injured. Some people don't like that I dropped James, but Hubris actually been doing really well and has been coming. Bayern Munich is shockingly annoyed with how much I use Davies, and they're not letting me play him against Australia. I'm surprised they're letting me play him against Bolivia, but at least I get him for one match. Oh no, they did pull him for both. I don't love that they did that, but I'm not shocked. I play him way more than his coaches would like. Everyone is fully fit for this match, so I was smart to pull Fleurs out towards the end of that last match. It let him fully recover. Traore's still a little tired, suffering in match sharpness. Torre, so is Chomini, but this is probably not the match that's going to recover either of them. We're going to Cape Town. No one's coming to watch the match. Their pitch is garbage, and it's rainy. Fun. This is going to be an interesting match that we should win fairly easily. And I don't think drizzle really increases the chance of injuries. It affects how the ball moves, but player safety wise, it should be fine. It's kind of nice to be coming into a league game with a fully prepared team and not feeling like I'm behind the 8 ball in some position. I think when it comes time to make subs, I'm going to start feeling the pinch of not having squad depth, but at least opening up, everyone's healthy and ready to play, and it's kind of a nice position. I think this is one of the best starts to a season I've had. Definitely with this club. And probably overall, because I really haven't. I'm over a month in, and I really haven't suffered any significant injuries that have actually affected playtime. Like, no injuries. I haven't really had any blow ups with players. I'm currently having more issues with the national team than I am with the club squad, and that's been a rarity of this save. If we can hold this sort of level all the way through to December, I feel pretty good about how this year's going to shape up. The board doesn't have the highest of expectations for me in the league, so I can afford to have a rough December that knocks everyone down a bit, but I'm going to try to get through it with good results. That week where I was saving my job shows that the team is capable of handling a heavy schedule. They're not being very accurate today. We've been hammering shots towards the goal, but no one's actually been hitting them. But this is a dangerous cross from Marchman. Oh, just a bruised shin. That's fine. He can tough that out. I suspect their player is a little more seriously injured from that because all the officials ran out to the field there. Yeah, we're all right. It looks like Hamad's potentially actually injured. You can see how far down his health or his I guess health fitness bar is compared to ours. And these guys will bounce back a bit if they keep playing. I'm definitely going to keep Foster in. I don't know what they're going to do with Hamad. That was a messy goal, but I'll take it. We've already got 14 goals this season with Mkwakwana. He's definitely one of the best strikers I've had. And we're starting to climb back up the table. With the sporadic nature of games in this league, it can really hurt that we fell like 5 places in the league table without playing badly just because we didn't have a match scheduled. I don't mind if Cape Town want to clog the box now that I'm up a goal. It was a messy goal, but I'll take it, and now we can sit outside and hammer shots in if we want, and it doesn't really matter. I'm not going to let them get... I want them to keep trying to score because I don't want Cape Town to get back into it, but I don't really care if they don't succeed. You can see Foster's almost recovered from his injury earlier. It's just a bruised shin, so he's going to be hurting later, but he can get his adrenaline up and it shouldn't really affect his performance during the match unless he gets another knock. Aggressive. Good goaltending on their part. I can see him starting to break them down mentally about Keat and I forget the other name already. The second guy on the list. We're starting to feel anxious because we've been dominating them so badly. Like they're getting a couple of shots on goal, but almost everyone they've had has been a highlight, and we've just been hammering their goal. Williams has been playing kind of ass today. But then he's still not in a great headspace. He's getting better, but he's not where I want him to be. Like the rest of the team are in a good mood, and he's just kind of sulky by himself. It's probably partially because he's the only European that makes the regular squad, so he doesn't really have a friend group that has anything in common with him. Because he's trying to adapt to living in a strange country, and everyone else is used to it. And most of these guys have never played in, like, for an international club, so they don't have that experience. That was a little nerve-wracking. I'd like to get a second goal, because Cape Town City do have the potential to be dangerous. They've scored upsets on us before. Especially when we get complacent. That probably happened because I didn't make a sub from the injury. Usually he'd be fast. Foster would be fast enough to get that, but with the sore leg, I think it slowed him down a little bit. Knew that was going to be offside. Mabule was way too far out when that pass came through. They're going to prove it to me, but I believe them. Look how far he was. He was like 3 yards offside. There we go. Time to make a sub, I think. Foster's somehow still in amongst the best condition of our team, even after taking that knock. No one's playing badly. Savjevic's actually putting in one of the better performances. I think I'll take Foster off for Siasi just to try to keep him from getting hurt worse. It's time for a strategic substitution. And Siasi's perfectly comfortable. He's actually better than Foster almost. But he was just tired coming in, so that's why I had Foster in there. But he should be able to hold down the fort for the last 30 minutes and make sure that I don't get Foster hurt worse. Because Foster's pretty good too. I do want to have him in sometimes. Walker's starting to fall off. He seems to lose it towards the end of games. So I'm going to sub in Torre. I do want him to get that last little bit of match sharpness. And really tried to get him comfortable as an attacking player so I can use him sometimes. I mean, he's only 2.5 stars. He's not great, but I don't have a lot of great strikers. I need to put him in sometimes. And so he needs to get that last little bit of, like, sharpness up. Oh, this is dangerous. He is onside. And this is why I wanted to have a second goal, because now they've tied it up. Knocks us all the way back down to 6th. Because they left McGuan Wasway completely uncovered. And I can't even blame that I hadn't got the new tactics in place, because those were not defensive tactical changes I made. So the defense should have been playing fine. They're actually in real danger of stealing this. We're getting lazy and complacent because things have been going well. I'm going to hold out till 80 and then see if I can shake some life into them with a change. They are still attacking pretty good, so we're getting sloppy, but the sheer talent compared to the opponents should still give us a chance. And there we go. That's what we needed. Back in front. I'd like a second, but I don't think Cape Town City's going to be able to score in 13 minutes. And I just had a feeling Mabule was on the cusp of another goal. You can see how terrible the turnout is for this match. Like, Cape Town City have sucked for a while, and their fans have largely given up on them. They've got a massive stadium too, so it really feels empty. They got another player hurt. Looks like it's going to be Fleursum subbing. Everyone else is playing well. Let's give Meilula some time to get comfortable in that position. He's really not terribly suited to central defense, but he's one of the only people I have that can slot in there. So I gotta try to build up his comfort level. And right now it's really just a case of hold on. Hope there's not a lot of stoppage time. Or score third. That would have been really nice, but our head's just not in the game that well today. I think they got lazy after like 3 really easy matches in a row, having to actually face, like, Cape Town City aren't a great team, but compared to what we have been playing, they're much better. And I don't think that our team was ready for that. The 5 minutes of stoppage time's a little rough. You can still equalize in it, especially if we're playing sloppy, which we are. Really didn't love that. Nielsen was just faster than Meilula. It's probably my own fault for putting him in that position. Ooh, that would have been nice. This is going to end in a draw. That's disappointing. And this is a thing that happens fairly commonly, that after you get a bunch of easy matches, your players just are not ready to deal with a stronger team, and they got a couple of lucky goals. I think we were probably a little hard on them there because they played well. They really did. Like, you look at the match rating, they were playing quite well. They just made a couple of mistakes and got burned for it. Foster's not too badly hurt. That stings a bit that Farmer was one of the best players out there, because I had him for a while until Cape Town bought him from me. See, he's doing well. How's his ability changed? Oh, good. His loan's actually working out. He's improving. And Eriksson managed to be the player of the match, even though we didn't win. So that could have gone a lot worse. Anyway, we'll leave it off there for now. We'll try to pick up with some more potential disappointment as I take on Orlando Pirates to start off the next one. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a good day.